I feel like I'm more like a human voice for the royal family rather than somebody that's out there just trying to make money off them. So I started Royal Commentary, was around back in 2018 officially on YouTube, but I mainly started following the royal family back in when I was around 8 years old. So I think it was 2012, 2013. And how I stepped into it was, obviously I started out as a commentary person where I'd do like a lot of scrapbooking and stuff like that, and I had like a really strong interest in the royal family. And so when I was old enough to go online, I then started making royal commentary videos, and obviously they started off as, you know, just little bits of photos with music in them, and then obviously when I got to a bit more confident and knew how to edit, then they obviously turned into royal commentary. And it's evolved from being sort of like just the photos and just the videos and stuff like that with music behind it, to now a fully blown royal, you know, journalism commentary channel, which is really cool. Usually royal fans and royal watchers would traditionally get their photos and news from the newspapers, so like the Times, the Telegraph, that kind of stuff. And how it's changed is a lot of people now get their news like literally within minutes when the royals are out and about doing their duties, and that's really changed how people can engage with the live news in the royal family, because it used to be just like the next day or a couple of hours after when a newspaper would publish it, but now it's all about a couple of seconds later when they literally step onto an engagement. People can get news, photos, first looks, that kind of stuff, which is really helped with the royals being more accessible to younger people. And I think the Prince and Princess of Wales do this really well, where they've got like little short videos of, say, an engagement they've done, which is really powerful because people can actually see snippets of what they've done in an engagement. But it's also obviously been made to engage a younger audience as well, who have shorter attention spans. Yeah, I usually start with the major engagements. So what I do is I take an engagement and I focus on one thing that's happened during an engagement, such as the Prince of Wales has spoken about women in the army, or the Princess of Wales has spoken about mental health in children, how important it is. And I usually work around scripts based around the core bit of their engagement, such as mental health, children's advocacy, homelessness, that kind of stuff, which is really important because then you are reporting on the actual news that the royals have done, rather than where they stepped into a coffee shop and spoke to someone. You're more like, you're saying that the engagement was around this sort of thing like homelessness in early years, which is, you know, setting the scene for the video. And it also means that people get the information straight away without, you know, easing them into the video. And it's really important, especially with low attention spans. People need the information really quickly, and they can just get their news straight from like the first part that they click on the video, which is really important. Yeah, so I think that I used to obviously focus on the engagements, but I think a lot of my content now is more educational. I like to focus on misinformation about the royal family, the parts of the royal family, you know, how they work and stuff that's not really known to a lot of people. There was a question I got the other day about the black rod in Parliament. I don't cover Parliament, but I said that it's a, you know, tradition like the royal family, and I think that people need somebody to tell them how something works, because we don't, in England especially, we don't really learn how the royal family works in the school curriculum. So children as young as like 7 they know who the royal family are, but they don't really know how they work. And if they grow up knowing not how they work, they then are thinking that they're taking our taxes or they're doing this for money or something like that, and it's not. It sort of like distorts the image of the royal family and what they actually truly mean. And I think it's really important for people to understand how the royal family works, and so I've shaped my voice around how the royal family works, the education around them, while also making the engagements that they do as educational as possible, why they're there, the importance of them being there, and why people should, you know, focus on this part of an engagement, this part of an engagement. So it's all about bringing a little bit of education to it, because otherwise it's just plain reporting. So I find that's a bit of a unique selling point for me. It is quite hard because there are so many incredible journalists out there who have worked for decades, and I look up to so many journalists in this space. It's really hard to sometimes think, well, you know, how am I going to be unique to that? And it's sort of like, I don't try and compete, I sort of like add a new voice to the space. So a lot of people that do journalism at the moment, they build trust around, you know, sort of their knowledge on the royal family, and I sort of bring an extra bit of trust via the way that I explain about the royal family. I always make sure that I'm really impartial with my viewers. I always make sure that if I do make a mistake, I apologise for the mistake, and I feel like I'm more like a human voice for the royal family rather than somebody that's out there just trying to make money off them. So I feel like a lot of the time when I'm building trust and authority as a young voice, I feel like it's important to be to know what you're talking about, to be able to take a bit of criticism, but I think it's also important to know what you're talking about, know about the royals, know the engagement you're speaking about, know the history of the engagement you're speaking about. And I'll sometimes before a video, I will look up what that video will be about, what engagement they're doing, how that historically matches to the royal family, and sort of their causes, which I think is really important because people have got to understand about the royal family, and they've got to understand why they do said engagement, which I think that I don't think I compete with other journalists. I think I add like a young voice, just a young voice that makes sure that the younger voices that follow the royal family are also heard and understand the royal family in a way that, sort of I was taught how to understand the royal family. Well, first of all, people get the news as it comes in, which is really exciting. So, especially with the younger royals, I find that people want to, as soon as there's a first look of it, it's online. And I think that it's really important for people to get the up-to-date news so that it's happened that day, rather than doing. I know a lot of people do it the day after or the day before. It depends how busy they are. But I think that I prefer the couple of hours after it's come out, because that means that it's happened that day, and you can say, well, today this was St. George's Day, and they did this engagement for St. George's Day, rather than a couple of days later when it's not going to be much relevant anymore, because they've done the engagement, it's happened, loads of other people have reported on it, and they've got the information elsewhere. So I think it's really important to be able to upload the engagements in real time, be able to look like the voice that knows what you're talking about that engagement, and be educational. But if you don't upload it as the engagement happens or as the engagement finishes, you're sort of going to miss that prime time to upload it, and you're also going to miss out on people that kind of are waiting for you to upload. That goes back to the trust question as well. People need to trust you. They're going to be able to bring out the latest engagement, so they get so they keep up to date with the royals, because that's why they follow you, to keep up to date with the royal family. So I feel like if it's real-time commentary, it's got to be really important for the public to get that information straight away, so that they know what's happening and why is it happening, and they get those engagements straight away. So it's really important. I hope that they take away the importance of British traditions. I'm very passionate about that. I think that we live in such a wonderful country full of so many traditions, but it's also important for us to champion the heritage and the culture of this country. Britain is, got thousands and thousands of years of history, and there's a lot of people in today's world that don't really understand that history, don't really understand the importance of cultural history and heritage and stuff. And I think the royal family embodies that importance of keeping traditions alive while moving with the times, which is something I also live by. I think it's important for people to understand the cultural impact of the royal family, the cultural impact of their traditions, the impact of tourism, the impact of British history. And it's really important for us as people in this country to champion our history as well as champion other people's history as well. So I hope that people take away that how important British traditions are, but also how important our royal family is, how unique it is for the royal family to be in the United Kingdom and represent us, and how powerful they are. We've seen recently the US state visit. The king is just incredibly powerful, and he's sort of like a little candle. He goes into a country and he sort of like lights up the room. It's very important for us to have a royal family, and I hope people take that how important it is to champion not only the royal family but also our heritage and our traditions, and be proud to be British as well.